Okay, my lovely dear friends, listen carefully. About the key terms, Assalam forever, my friends. Then Allah say that, dear doctor, I have got your approval about my title. The next step, I have to write the research proposal according to certain steps that you had shared in the group. So, how to resend again the outline to Dr. Masumi to get approval or just for you? What do you mean by these things? I am here just for your proposal, but just for your seminar case. So what is the problem? If you are with me for seminar class, you should send it to me. If you are with Dr. Masumi, you should send it to him. Or maybe you have Ravish Tahqiq with him also, yes? Do you have Ravish Tahqiq with Dr. Masumi? Research methodology. That is different thing. That is different thing. My dear friends, it is different thing. I mean, my case is very much different than Dr. Masumi's case. That is Ravish Tahqiq. Still for that, if he asked you any title and any proposal or seminar case, or I don't know what he has asked from you, just you should take care. This is my case only, okay? Then for him, I don't know what he asked for you. I don't know exactly. Then you should think about this. But for myself, I have asked you to send me just proposal, and I talked about those material for you. Today, inshallah, if you let me, I am going to finish the elements of proposal for you, and then, inshallah, you should send everything for me within these days, because there is no time for us. I through your works to read them, to maybe if we need any marcation and these things, you should do that for me. We left just 1 month, not more than that. Okay. My dear friends, listen, I'm going to talk about definition of key terms. Sometimes there is a confusion about key terms and keywords. My dear friends, key terms are different things, and keywords also are different things, okay? Key terms and keywords. Key terms and keywords. Listen, keywords are those words. Keywords, you should put in keywords after your, at the end or bottom of your abstract, okay? Your abstract. If you are going to send any article or in your thesis also, inshallah, you will abstract. At the bottom of the page, after your abstract, you will mention keywords. What do we mean by keywords, my dear friends? Keywords means those words which mostly are used by you in your thesis, okay? Some words are there for you. Repeatedly, you are using those words, okay? Many times you are using those words in your thesis. We call them keywords. Just remember, those which are repeatedly mentioned by you, or many times you mentioned words in your thesis, are called keywords. But key terms are different. Key terms means some words are there for your thesis, for your study, which you imagine that, assumption that, suppose that the readers don't know the meaning of them, the definition of them, okay? You suppose that, you think that some words you will use in your thesis which are new for the readers. Then these are key terms, okay? For example, mysticism, okay? Or for example, epistemology. You think that this is a new term for your readers. You should define it. You should give some explanations about your key terms. 5, 6, 3, 10, whatever key terms are there, you are going to use in your thesis, then you should mention them in proposal, okay? And give some definitions for them. But how to explain and how to define them? You should refer to the reliable sources of internet, for example, or some books, and find some texts about those key terms, and then you should paraphrase them. By your own words, you should talk about them, okay? For example, as I said, mysticism. Yes, mysticism is the finding of God through contemplation, meditation, and inner light. Some mystics have done this before, and then the word mysticism came into the life. For example, like this, you should define it for us. Vorticism, mysticism, nihilism, okay, absurdism. These are some terms which you should give some information about them in your proposal, okay, which related to your case study, which related to your title. Then you should mention those words. But about keywords, just you will mention those words which repeatedly you are going to use in your study. For example, the name of the novels, the name of the poems, the name of the variables, okay? So you use them. Bashir, I hand you another link also. Join from there. If my voice is not available here in Dun system, it is available. My friend, tell Tahir to join from Google Meet also for me. So, hope you got definition of key terms and the difference between these terms and keywords. Once again, I repeat, key terms are those terms which you suppose that are new for the readers. You should explain them. But keywords are those words which repeatedly you are going to mention them in your thesis, inshallah. So 3, 4, 5 maybe key terms must be there for us. Then you should explain them and you should give the definition of them in your thesis, in your proposal for us. And at the beginning of your, thesis also, you will talk about them. So after definition of key terms, we are coming to limitations and delimitations. Limitations and delimitations. limitations and delimitations. Okay, so my lovely friends, what do we mean by limitations and delimitations? Some shortcomings, some problems, okay, some shortcomings, some hindrance, some barriers, some difficulties would be there in your thesis, okay, in your study. Then you should mention them. You should mention them in your proposal, in your thesis. For example, you should mention that you are going to study Lord of the Flies, Lord of the Flies, William Golding, from psychological point of view. In limitations and delimitations, you can say that due to the shortage of time, I couldn't select another novels by William Golding to study it from psychological point of view. The other researchers can go through the other novels by William Golding to survey them from psychological point of view. This is the limitation. And about the limitation also, you can mention that about psychological analysis of this novel, I could find less secondary sources, for example. There were not enough articles, okay, about this case. And if you like, you can collect some other articles then to survey or to maybe study it. Also, you can mention that I went into the Lord of the Flies from psychological point of view. And other researchers can study the Lord of the Flies, for example, from democracy point of view, from violence point of view, from civilization point of view. You know, these are some shortcomings which would be there in your thesis, because you can study all novels of William Golding in a single thesis. Then you should mention these things in your limitations and delimitations part of your proposal, my dears. So after this case, after limitations and delimitations, then this is the time for what? For design of chapter. Design of chapter. So, what is the design of chapter? Here, just you are going to say that this study, as MA study, okay, envisages, includes 5 chapters, mostly according to MLA system and format. Your thesis would be 5 chapters. The first chapter would be introduction. The second, third, and fourth chapter will be the main body of your thesis, okay? Then the last chapter would be your conclusion chapter. These 5 chapters are there. You should talk about them. For example, yes, my study in just 5 chapters. The first chapter is introduction. In introduction, I am going to talk about the significance of the study, statement of problem, the same cases which I am talking to you. In the first chapter, for example, I am going to talk about psychological issues totally. Then in the second chapter, in the third chapter, I am going to talk about William Golding and his psychological views. For example, about the study, about the title. And in the next chapter, I will talk about the variable psychological issues in the novel Lord of the Flies. And the last chapter would be my conclusion chapter, which I am going to explain the chapters very briefly in the conclusion chapter, and then I will talk about the outcomings of the thesis and the results of my study I will mention in this chapter. And then it would be your bibliography. But I forgot, I forgot to talk to you about methodology also. Methodology. This should be there after review of literature, my friends. Methodology is there after review of literature. Sometimes it's before that also. Sometimes it is before that. I mean before methodology is before review of literature, and sometimes it is after review of literature. And what do we mean by methodology? Methodology, my dear friends, means the way of collecting your data. Okay? You need some instruments, some tools, okay, to collect your data for your study. Because after collecting your data, you should analyze them by some instruments. But in literature, English literature, methodology, remember, is different from the APA system. Ours related to MLA system. Just all of you, you should mention that this study is a qualitative study. Okay? Ours is not quantitative, my dears. Ours is qualitative study. Okay? So, we do not need, what does it mean? It means that we do not need questionnaire to prepare. We do not need to go, to the sample of the study, to the population of the study, to the scope of the study. We do not need these things. So, just here, we should mention that this study is a qualitative study, and then it would use the librarian method. You should mention these two words in your methodology, okay? This study is a qualitative study, okay? Then it will use the librarian method. This is for us. And what do we mean? Yes, qualitative, not quantitative. Our study is just qualitative. We have nothing with numbers. That is why ours is qualitative, not quantitative. When it comes into numbers, we need, for example, we say that the effect of coronavirus on the learning of English among primary school students. Here we need scope. Here we need sample. Here we need questionnaire. Here we need some experimental groups. Here we need what we say, population of the study. But for us, there is no need for these things. For English literature, we need only qualifying of the study, okay? Or librarian method. What does librarian method mean, my dear friends? Librarian method means study just. Not in library, but at home. Sometimes you can go to the libraries also, if you need. So, librarian method means you are going to read primary and secondary sources. which are related exactly about primary sources, secondary sources. You should find sources, some books, some articles, some pamphlets, some interviews, some internet, maybe sources which are related to case of study. Okay, so you should collect them, and then you should analyze them. Analyze them with what? Now, for analyzing the data, we need instruments, we need tools. Okay, for APA system, they have some software there to evaluate findings. For example, SPSS. This is the software which the data would be evaluated by it for quantitative studies. But for us, our approach, I mean, the theory which we have chosen for our study would be the instrument or tool for us. We should, what we say, analyze our data due to the theory which we have chosen already, okay? It means that those texts you are going to cite, okay, and excite from some passages related to your title, and then through your chapters, inshallah, you will answer questions. As I told you, 3 questions at least might be there for you. Then you should prepare those questions, and through your thesis, in each chapter, you are going to answer to those questions. Okay? So, my dear friends, it is so, these parts are so easy, but about some other cases I talked to you, they were a little bit hard for me. So about these cases, once again, I am going to you. First step for you is the selecting of a good title. A good title must include an approach, variables, and case of study. Approach means theory. You should find out a literary theory, okay, for yourself. Then you should choose 2 variables which are related to the theory of you, which you have chosen before. And then you should select case study. Your case study would be just 2 writers or 1 writer, for example, 2, not more than that. Sometimes you can select 3 also. Then 3 novels, 3 dramas or 2 dramas, and selected poetry also. You cannot select just 2 or 3 poems for your study. You should mention selected poetry. It means that up to 10 poems, 8 poems, 7 poems from a poet must be there for your study. Then you should prepare. Somaya, join me from Google, please. I have sent that link for you to join from there for me also, because I know that there is problem in the system. Oh, really? Can you hear me in Google Meet? Now can you hear me? From Google, can you hear me? Okay. Okay, my dears. That's okay. Nice. So, I did my job. I told you just in detail. I told you how to prepare a title for yourself, how to prepare a proposal, okay? one by one. Patiently, I told you, my dear friends, okay? So, from next week, inshallah, I will bring you some samples of proposal, okay? Already have done by my students for English literature. I will upload them here in the system, and one by one we will see and we will read them, and those cases would be helpful for you also to manage your own proposals. But once again, I tell you, you should immediately send me your proposal, because we left just 1 month. I read them, please. And do not confuse my case with Dr. Sumi's case. His case is different, and my case is different, okay? So send me just title with proposal. And as I told, your proposal must include introduction. I told you how to write introduction. I sent some text about this for you. Then statement of problem. I told you how to write this part also. I sent again some text to you. I talked about it. Significance of study. You should talk about this. Significance of study. Sorry for the string problems because of my laptop case. So, significance of study must be there. Aims and objectives. Yes, thank you, Allah. Thank you. Title, abstract. No, I do not need abstract. Who told you abstract? The design, these are not for me, Allah. These are not for me. Allah, these are not for me. These are not for me. Someone deceived you. Someone deceived you. You should kill all your friends.